Let's get right into it. Number 9. The product tampering terror. This crime started with a simple headache. Imagine you're at the store, grabbing some Tylenol for a headache. You probably don't think twice about breaking that little seal around the cap. But back in 1982, that seal didn't exist. Bottles of medicine were about as secure as a cookie jar. Someone in Chicago started putting cyanide into Tylenol capsules and putting them back on store shelves. You're just trying to cure a headache, and instead, you're taking deadly poison. It's like ordering a pizza and getting a landmine instead. 7 people died before anyone figured out what was happening. The scariest part is that the killer wasn't targeting anyone specific. This crime was so new, so unthinkable, that there weren't even laws against it yet. Parents were throwing out their medicine cabinets like they'd found spider nests in them. This terrible crime actually led to something good. It's the reason we now have those annoying seals on everything from medicine to milk jugs. Those little pieces of plastic between you and your headache pills are literally there because one person decided to be history's worst pharmacist. The killer was never caught. They're probably still out there, getting annoyed at tamper-proof seals just like the rest of us. So next time you're struggling to open a new bottle of literally anything, you can thank this unnamed psychopath for making your life just a little bit harder, but at least you know your medicine isn't secretly murder pills. Number 8. The Airwave Hijacker. Imagine you're watching TV in 1987, enjoying your favorite show, when suddenly the screen goes dark. A figure wearing a max headroom mask appears out of nowhere. This actually happened in Chicago, and it was the world's first TV signal hijacking. Some guy managed to override the signals of 2 major TV stations using nothing but homemade equipment. This dude basically did the 1987 equivalent of hacking Netflix and replacing Stranger Things with his own weird show. The guy managed to broadcast himself for almost 90 seconds, ranting about everything from Coca-Cola to Chuck Swirsky, a sports commentator. He even spanked himself with a fly swatter while humming the theme from Clutch Cargo. To this day, no one knows who he was. Today, TV stations have more security than a bank vault, all because one guy with some radio equipment and a max headroom mask decided to get weird on a Sunday night. Number 7. The computer hostage taker. Imagine it's 1989. You're a scientist working for the World Health Organization. You pop in a floppy disk labeled AIDS information, thinking you're about to learn about important medical research. Instead, your computer screen goes black. A message appears. Your PC is now held hostage. Send $189 to PC Cyborg Corporation. Congratulations, you've just become the victim of the world's first ransomware attack. The creator was a biologist named Joseph Pop, who basically invented digital kidnapping. Pop mailed out 20,000 floppy disks to AIDS researchers across 90 countries, claiming they contained a survey about AIDS risk. But after you used the disk 90 times, his program would encrypt your hard drive and demand payment. This was during the height of the AIDS crisis, when every day of delayed research meant more lives lost. Compared to modern malware, this was a Fisher-Price toy. The encryption was so weak that experts quickly cracked it, but Pop never went to prison. When they caught him, he started wearing curlers in his beard and putting a cardboard box on his head. The court ruled he was mentally unfit to stand trial. Today, ransomware attacks happen every 11 seconds, causing billions in damage each year. Number 6. The first sky pirate. The year is 1931, and in Peru, a pilot named Byron Rickards is about to become the world's first victim of a crime that didn't even exist yet. He's just sitting in his plane, minding his own business, probably thinking about what he's going to have for lunch. Then suddenly, a group of armed revolutionaries storms his plane. Nobody knew what to do. There were no protocols for airplane hijacking because it had never happened before. The revolutionaries weren't asking for money or trying to escape the country. These guys had a much weirder demand. They wanted Rickards to fly over Lima and drop propaganda leaflets. They turned this poor pilot's plane into the world's most expensive paper airplane. Rickards was probably wondering if this was some elaborate practical joke. After this incident, governments worldwide had to scramble to create laws about airplane hijacking. Before this, you could technically hijack a plane, and there wasn't even a specific law against it. These revolutionaries found a loophole in reality and thought if there's no law against it, why not? Number 5. The Telegraph Trickster. Imagine it's 1867, and you're a Wall Street trader waiting for the latest stock prices. The telegraph was basically the internet of its time, the fastest way to get news. But there's this guy named Thomas Nutter who figured out something nobody had thought of before. He realized that all those important stock market messages were just zipping through wires, completely unprotected. So he bribes a telegraph operator to give him a peek at the messages before anyone else. It's like having tomorrow's newspaper today. He'd see that cotton prices were about to jump in New York, then quickly buy up all the cotton he could in Boston before anyone else knew what was happening. By the time other traders got the news, Nutter had already made a fortune. The craziest part is there wasn't even a law against what he was doing. The authorities were scratching their heads trying to figure out how to charge him. They ended up having to create entirely new laws just because this one guy got creative with his crime. Nutter basically invented wire fraud, and now it's one of the most common financial crimes in the world. So next time you get one of those Nigerian prince email scams, you can thank Thomas Nutter for being the grandfather of all wire fraudsters. Number 4. The floppy disk plague. Imagine it's 1986, and you're excited to play your new computer game. You slide in that square piece of plastic that looks like a coaster for robots, but instead of getting to play Oregon Trail, your computer starts acting weird. This was the beginning of the brain virus, the first PC virus to hit the wild. 2 brothers in Pakistan, Basit and Amjad Farooq Alvi, were running a computer store. They were tired of people copying their software without paying, so they created something that had never existed before, a virus that could spread through floppy disks. Every time someone put an infected disk in their computer, the virus would copy itself. It's like they invented digital sneezing. The virus would rename all files to brain and display their shop's address and phone number. Imagine being so confident in your virus that you leave your business card inside it. That's like robbing a bank, but stopping to fill out a customer satisfaction survey. The brothers thought their virus would only affect local pirated copies, but floppy disks, like bad decisions, have a way of traveling far. Within months, universities and businesses across the world were calling their shop in Pakistan. The brothers had accidentally created the world's first computer pandemic. The brothers are still in business in Pakistan. They even have a website where they brag about creating the first PC virus. Talk about a unique marketing strategy. Trust us with your computer. We only crashed thousands of them that one time. Number 3. The first digital Vandal. It's 1982. You're using your Apple II computer. Suddenly your screen goes black. A poem appears. Elk Cloner. The program with a personality. It will get on all your disks. It will infiltrate your chips. Yes, it's Cloner. This was the world's first computer virus in the wild. It wasn't created by some criminal mastermind or government spy. It was made by a 15-year-old kid named Rich Skrenta. Rich wasn't trying to steal data or crash computers. He just thought it would be funny to mess with his friends. The virus would hide in the computer's memory and infect any floppy disk you put in. After 50 uses, the poem would appear. Elk Cloner was basically just an annoying digital prank, but Rich Skrenta accidentally invented the self-spreading computer virus. Every ransomware attack that locks up hospitals, every virus that steals credit card numbers, every piece of malware that turns your computer into a zombie, they all started with this teenager's practical joke. And it all began with a kid who wanted to share his terrible poetry. Number 2. The first insurance scammer. It's 1872, and Thomas Briggs is a sea captain. Back then, ships were insured for way more than they were worth. Briggs bought an old garbage ship for cheap, insured it for a fortune, and then the ship mysteriously sank. He didn't just sink one ship. He'd load his ships with worthless cargo, like sawdust that he claimed was expensive flour. Then he'd insure the valuable cargo for huge amounts. The ships would conveniently sink in deep water where nobody could check the cargo. Briggs made the equivalent of millions in today's money. He got caught because he got greedy and tried to sink a ship in shallow water. When your valuable cargo is floating around and it's literally just wet sawdust, it's pretty suspicious. This guy forced insurance companies to completely change how they do business. Before Briggs, insurance companies just trusted people. After Briggs, they started investigating claims like paranoid detectives. Number 1. The worm that ate the internet. It's 1988. The internet is basically a baby. Most people don't even know it exists. Robert Morris was a grad student at Cornell. He was basically the kid who takes apart the toaster to see how it works, but with the entire internet. So he writes this tiny program, a digital worm that would crawl through the internet, copying itself from computer to computer, counting as it goes. At least that was the plan. Morris made one tiny mistake in his code. Instead of copying itself once per computer, the worm kept making copies, over and over and over. It's like when you tell your printer to print one copy, but it decides to print until the end of time. Within hours, this thing had spread everywhere. Government labs, universities, military bases all crashing as thousands of copies of Morris's worm ate up their resources. About 10% of the entire internet went down. In today's terms, that would be like accidentally unplugging half of North America. The funny part is Morris tried to send out instructions to stop the worm, but he couldn't because the internet was too clogged with copies of his own program. The damage was about $100,000 to fix. That's like $250,000 today. Morris became the first person ever convicted of a cybercrime, a crime that literally didn't exist until he accidentally invented it. The judge gave him 3 years of probation, 400 hours of community service, and a $10,000 fine. Today, Morris is a professor at MIT, teaching computer science. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.